How's it going, everybody? Adrian Simple here, and welcome back to the Gaming Observer for Wednesday, July 1st. Happy Canada Day. It's a brand new month, which means a brand new swath of video games to talk about. Let's jump in. The developer of the game Descenders has just shared how effective the Xbox Game Pass is for the third-party games that are on the service. His name is Mike Rose, and he has said that the Game Pass has been great, not just because they have a licensing deal where they get presumably some kind of sum of money, but because it has raised awareness of the game significantly, and that impacts sales outside of the service. He said this, quote, "If I take the month before we went into Game Pass and I compare it to sales of the game last week, we're now selling around 5 times as many units each week as pre-Game Pass on a weekly basis. Since we went into Game Pass, our total Xbox sales have tripled," end quote. And I mean, this isn't the first indication we've had of this. The developers of Mon-Fri and Outer Wilds have both praised the service as well, and I think that's absolutely tremendous. The more that we have services like this elevating the popularity of indie games, the better. You know, Outer Wilds, for example, was the game of the year of so many outlets, and it definitely deserves a spotlight. And at this point, Microsoft is a great company to lead that charge. I say it all the time, Xbox Game Pass, super cheap, tons of high-quality games. Go check it out. Niantic has announced their 4th game following the success of Ingress and Pokemon Go and Harry Potter Wizards Unite, and this time it's Settlers of Catan. More specifically, it's called Catan World Explorers, and it's exactly what you're used to with these games, except Catan-themed. You're going to be collecting brick, lumber, grain, ore, and wool. You can trade, you can build settlements, and there's even team-based gameplay. Feel free to pre-register for the beta, and that's arriving super soon if you're so inclined. Fallout 76 has just introduced its version of the Battle Pass, alongside its Seasons update, which just came out today. As you might expect, there are 100 levels. You can gain levels by completing challenges or by purchasing them, and each level has some kind of reward. I guess this first season is retro space themed, and there's a number of cosmetics around that. It actually looks pretty cool. This update is free for all players, and the season will end sometime mid-September. And if you are a Fallout 76 player, then there are other things going on with that update as well. I'll let you peruse as you please. Amazon's newest game, Crucible, the multiplayer third-person shooter MOBA with a battle royale mode that isn't in the game anymore, you know, that one, is quote-unquote unreleasing itself into beta. This is a super interesting move. I'm not sure if it's been done before, but they had a full release a while back, and everyone had access to the game. I played it. It wasn't terrible by any means, but there was definitely a lot of work to be done. And, well, now their team has decided to go back into a closed beta. This doesn't mean that too much is changing for existing players. If you activated the game anytime in the last few weeks, your experience won't change. They're kind of just closing up shop to new players while they work on the game and plan a future re-release. If you do want to stay connected with that game, they recommend joining the official Discord server to find people to play with and even just talk about what's going on with it. And certainly, there's a lot of potential with this game, so it might be worth checking out. Monster Hunter World is getting its next big content update, titled Alatreon or Alatreon, on July 9th. That's next week, Thursday. This was an update that was originally coming out in May. It got delayed thanks to COVID, and it reintroduces a dragon from Monster Hunter 3, which is pretty cool. So if that is something that you want to sink your teeth into, there's a dev diary coming out on Friday. Otherwise, enjoy the update. Final story for today, it's a funny one, but Fortnite is officially exiting early access across all modes. It's weird to think that it wasn't already, but yeah, I guess they're happy with the non-Battle Royale version of the game now, and they're officially calling it the complete official release. Now, that mode isn't going free-to-play like previously planned. If you were waiting for the free-to-play, that's not happening anymore. But the price is being reduced to $20, so feel free to go check that out. Alright folks, that's going to be all for today. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And hey, if you want more from me, you should go to youtube.com/thegamingobserver or the podcast host of your choice. Kato and I just put out the latest edition of the TGO podcast, and we had a lot of fun with it. Anyway folks, that's all for today. I'll be back tomorrow with another show, and until then, happy gaming everyone. Yo, TGO After-Show. Hello and welcome. I really want to play Monster Hunter World. That is a game that I've basically looked at since it released. I didn't know much about Monster Hunter before World, but then World came out and I was really intrigued. And then I played the free-to-play version of the game, Dauntless. Obviously not Monster Hunter, but similar in genre, at least from what I've heard. And I had a tremendous time with the game. It was fantastic. It was a great game to play with friends, you know, easily accessible. You had a fun time learning about the monsters and grinding out your stuff. I don't know, I had a lot of fun with it. But the problem is, it's just a little too expensive for me, knowing that I'm not going to be sinking a whole lot of time into it. You know, at this point, there's a lot of other games that I want to play, and, you know, anytime I commit myself to a really long game, it needs to be, like, narrative-focused, I think. It needs to have an end. Like, I'm playing Final Fantasy IX right now, but you know, it's a 40-hour game, and it's going to end at some point. And that's what I'm looking forward to. But I'm also playing Hitman 2, and I'm trying to get all the achievements for it, or all the challenges, and that is like a, you know, 200-hour commitment. I'm not expecting to get that done anytime soon. And I also know that, like, there's going to be many periods of time in which I'm not playing Hitman 2. Like, I haven't played it for the past few weeks. And I just know that Monster Hunter World is going to end up in that category. There's also always the possibility that I just fall head over heels for a game like that, like I do for many roguelikes, and then I sink in hundreds and hundreds of hours into the game, and that stops me from, you know, broadening my horizons and playing other games. And even though I know that's going to happen with a card game like Legends of Runeterra, or a roguelike like Rogue Legacy 2 coming out soon, or Dead Cells or Hades, which I want to get around to at some point, I'm just not going to let it happen with Monster Hunter, because I feel like I just know something's going to happen there. I had to stop myself from Dauntless. Speaking of Runeterra, I talked about this on the podcast today, but I'm playing a whole lot of it because I just keep winning. I'm so good at this game. You know, I started with Runeterra a few months ago, and I just had a single deck that I was doing pretty okay with. It was a spider deck, but I ended up hitting like a wall, either in my interest because I was just playing the same deck all the time, but also because once I got up there in the ranks, it really wasn't competing well with the top kind of meta decks, if that's what you want to call it. However, because I was grinding it out with a single deck for so long, I was able to build up to like a proper meta deck, a good competitive deck that I was able to take from the internet, with plenty of, you know, resources to spare if I want to make another one. But man, I'll tell you, I made this new deck and then all of a sudden I just couldn't lose. I just, you know, they put a new mode into the game, they call it the Gauntlet, and essentially they give you 7 games, and if you can win 7 games in a row, then you get the ultimate prize, or whatever it is. And you only get kicked out of this gauntlet if you lose twice in a row. So, you know, you could win 4 times, lose once, win again, and then you'll only get kicked out after that point if you lose twice in a row. Anyway, I ended up completing the gauntlet without taking a single loss, which is unheard of for me. I'm never that good at card games. But all of a sudden you put like a proper deck in my hands, and I don't know if it's luck or I'm just Kato posited that I was, you know, fighting against AI or children, which honestly wouldn't be too surprising, but anyway, I'm probably sticking around with that game for a while because I see a whole lot of archetypes that are being made that I really want to play myself, but I just haven't gotten around to actually building the deck yet because I'm still interested in kind of, you know, grinding, getting all the resources that I can, making it so that I can make any deck that I want without worrying about having to grind it later, I guess, or having to settle for something subpar. Anyway, folks, that'll do it for today. Thank you for joining me. Farewell.